Okay, so continuing with the final piece of our SOLIDWORKS introduction, what we would now like to do is take our exploded view assembly and create a drawing file with the bill of material. So what we're going to do is go ahead and explode our view, and what we want to do now is create a new drawing file from our part/assembly. We'll use the ANSI landscape. And now what we want to bring in from our choices will be the isometric exploded view. So we'll drag that in, and we can reposition this as we see fit, giving ourselves some room up at the top for a bill of material. Now, just to review drawing files again, once I've introduced the view perspective that I want, I can modify orientation. So we have different views that we can add. Scrolling down, if we had hidden lines, we can go through and show the hidden lines, which in this case we do not want to show. We could actually add some shading with edges if we'd like, but what we'll do is we'll just keep the standard drawing in terms of hidden lines removed. Scrolling down, we can modify the scale if we'd like. So if we wanted to use a custom scale, we can make it a little smaller or a little larger, depending on how much paper we have. So let's go back and we'll just leave it at 1:1 for now. And so we now have our exploded view imported into our drawing file. What we want to do next is to create what are called balloon labels. And so we're going to come over to our annotation lab, and we want to come over to the right, and there's the balloon and auto balloon feature. So what we're going to do is, since we have two parts, relatively easy to define, let's left click on auto balloon, and notice we have two labels that appear for both of our parts. Going through the menu real quick, we have different patterns that we can use. So there are set patterns on top, on the bottom. We also have the left and the right pattern. You can check off to ignore multiple instances if you have same parts multiple times. We can do leader attachments to either the edge. We can toggle over to the face. We could also modify what our balloons look like. So the default is circular. We'll leave that, but you can see that we have many other options over here, as well as the numbering. And so you can kind of explore that a little more and try some different things to see what happens. We could also just come over here with our mouse, and I could actually just simply pick up and reposition our balloons as we see fit. So once we've positioned our balloons, we're now just going to hit the green check. And so we've now labeled our two parts. And the final step to this is going to be to add a bill of material, or a BOM. So this is going to be the table that's going to show us what part 1 is, what part 2 is, as well as any additional information. So coming across to the top of annotation, all the way to the right, we have table. We want to select bill of material. And so some options here, top level bill of material, part only. We're going to leave it as top level. And then you could also go through and read through some of these modifications. The defaults usually work out pretty well. And so once we're all set, we're going to bring it in, and we'll locate it at the top of our drawing. So left clicking and then bringing that in. Now to edit the bill of material, it's going to be pretty easy to do. It's almost like a little Excel spreadsheet. We can simply come in, and let's say I wanted to add a materials description here, so I can double click and modify my text. So I've changed that label. Maybe I want to come in. Now notice, since I'm now about to modify an individual part, what I'm going to want to do is keep the link in the bill of materials. So we'll select keep link, and then maybe I'll do something like 1040 cold rolled steel for the part. And we can add the same for our second part. And that completes the bill of materials. So we finished up our drawing file. If we wanted to make any edits to our drawing sheet, remember what we're going to do is we can come over and right click, edit sheet format, and let's say if I wanted to change the name of this to something else, we can call it block assembly, maybe change the font. So that it fits a little better. And so going back and clicking edit sheet will bring us back, and that will complete our assembly drawing. Of course, you can double click and add anything into any of the title blocks if you'd like. And so that completes our introduction to SolidWorks.